Hey people, it is Thursday, September the 12th. The time is 5:17 p.m. It's around 24 degrees Celsius. And I think it's expected to get up to 27 degrees today. The return of some very warm weather here in September. Yonge Street heading south towards Eglinton Avenue here in Midtown Toronto. And I'm going to head east along Eglinton Avenue to Mount Pleasant Road. And then I'll go south through Mount Pleasant Village, which is a very nice retail strip along Mount Pleasant Road. A bit quieter than Yonge Street here. Yonge Street, of course, is very busy along most of its length from Midtown all the way to downtown. Passing through several neighborhoods along the way.
What's the response when someone calls you short?
It's the Yonge Eglinton Center. And still some remnants of the Line 5 Eglinton Crosstown construction remaining here. The intersection is fully opened up again though. This is one of the busiest intersections in the city for pedestrian crossings. We have Eglinton subway station right here on the corner. And another look south. CN Tower off in the distance. But let's head our way east here on Eglinton Avenue. Thankfully, I'm walking away from the sun and not into it. I think she had a bug fly up into her face. So this part of Eglinton has returned to normal. No fencing, no signs of the Eglinton Crosstown construction. But for a good 10 plus years, it was quite the mess here. Midtown location of Snakes and Lattes. We also have downtown locations. So this is pretty much like an outlying business district for people who live in Midtown. Once we get to Mount Pleasant Village, you'll find it's a lot more low-slung and quieter. It's just a stretch of retail and restaurants. But it is seeing some increased density with some mainly mid-rise developments in recent years, so the neighborhood is changing a little bit. I don't think it'll ever approach Yonge and Eglinton though, as a major node of high density. I don't think the local residents would stand for it, actually. Some of these outlying neighborhoods away from downtown, especially the ones with higher incomes, tend to be a little bit not in my backyardish or NIMBY-ish. Here is Redpath Ave. Once we get to Mount Pleasant, there'll be a subway station there that is yet to open for Line 5. I have done walks through Mount Pleasant Village before, but I think the last couple of times it was in the evening when most things were closed. I'm kind of curious to see how much more lively it might be right now. It does have a number of restaurants with patios and things of that nature. Alright, here we are, Mount Pleasant Road. I'll cross to the other side. So much of Mount Pleasant Road is a very busy arterial road with tons of traffic. But it does get a lot more pedestrian friendly through Mount Pleasant Village. It's quite walkable through that stretch. And if you continue further east, you'll come upon Bayview Avenue. And if you head south on Bayview Avenue, there's another retail stretch called Bayview Village, which is really very similar. It's very, very similar to Mount Pleasant Village. Bayview Village is actually in East York, not in Old Toronto. All right, so we're about to come into the village here. Looks like something might be going in this empty old Shoppers Drug Mart. This is 1915. Is that when Mount Pleasant Village was first recognized as a neighborhood, maybe? I'm not sure if it was ever an independent community. I might have to look into that. If it was later annexed by Toronto. There are a number of neighborhoods in the city that once were separate villages or towns unto themselves, such as Forest Hill Village, for example. Parkdale also was once a village of its own. This is a nice, quieter alternative to Yonge Street, as I was saying. If you want to walk south towards downtown. It's definitely a bit more chill. But the street is still very busy, as you can see, and quite wide. Takes a bit of the atmosphere away. Yonge Street might actually be a bit narrower and less busy traffic-wise than Mount Pleasant Road. Because as you continue along Mount Pleasant Road, it almost becomes like an expressway south of Mount Pleasant Village. So you get people into downtown very quickly. Candy store and costumes. This is probably their busy time of year now. And the old former Mount Pleasant Theater here. Looks like a church now.
I swear.
There's another theater further down that I think might be making a bit of a comeback. Hillsdale Avenue. Of an oyster bar. Some of these places are quite pricey. This neighborhood is a bit on the wealthy side, as I mentioned. Mastermind Toys. Pretty much any neighborhood that has a Mastermind Toys also tends to be a pretty well-off neighborhood with lots of families. French bakery. Doesn't seem to be open though. And it's a nice touch to see some benches. It's more of a rare sight these days than it used to be. And here's Piano. This is also a pretty classy place. It has a few locations around town. Some flower shops, a bookstore. Nice cafe, a Mexican store, a branch of the Toronto Public Library, and more of these nice benches. You can take out a book and sit down and read for a while. Place to buy some maps and books. I'm a bit of a map buff, I guess you could say. And I have worked in more than one bookstore in the past. What's on the other side? Wonder if I can even get across here. Traffic really doesn't let up here. I'm gonna go right now. think this is the shadier side actually. I don't know why I wasn't walking along this side the whole time. Someone's making use of one of the handy benches. You can see a patio there in front of that restaurant. And here's the old Regent Theater. It says coming soon, not a condo. I think there are plans to get this going again, if not as a proper movie theater, as a place that will at least be offering some sort of entertainment. It says Regent Revival. Neighborhood Arts Center, so that's what's coming there. Maybe they'll screen the occasional movies there. It was built for that after all. Good Eats there, craft ale. And the retail strip continues on a bit further here. Nice mural, Mount Pleasant Village. I like all the little critters sort of making an appearance on here. Got a raccoon peeking through a pretend tear. Hazel's Diner. Kind of an ugly building, but maybe the diner is awesome. The Spicy House. I don't think I'd like that place too much. I'm not a fan of overly spicy food. Bread and Butter with another nice mural. This is sort of an interesting building here. I wonder if it was a playhouse at one time. Now it's a health and performance clinic. Not quite as interesting. Starving Artist waffles and espresso. That's the Yonge and Davisville area over in that direction. Tennis courts. have a farmer's market here, Davisville Village Farmer's Market, Tuesday 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., May to October. Here at June Rowlands Park. June Rowlands was a former mayor of Toronto. And this is Davisville Avenue, so I'm going to head west here towards Davisville subway station. So I'm going to hop on a train and head back downtown. And this part of Davisville isn't terribly interesting unless you're a fan of huge 1960s and 70s era slab apartment towers.
I have no idea. I don't think it's very long.
Seems to be a pretty well-used park. It's nice to see. Unfortunately, I'm walking west now towards the sun. So maybe what I'll do before I step out into the bright sunlight and blind myself and everyone watching, I'll just dip into this shady spot in the park here and start to wrap up the video. So I hope you enjoyed the walk around Midtown Toronto. We started in the Yonge and Eglinton area where we made our way down Yonge to Eglinton and then west along, or east I should say, along Eglinton to Mount Pleasant Road, where we walked through Mount Pleasant Village. It's been a while since I've done that, so I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also make sure you hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal as well as via my merch store. Or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.